I've really been enjoying using my new Snapmaker U1, but there's a problem, and it's the same problem I've had with a lot of my other printers. 3D printer upgrades. There's so many, and some are game changers, but others, not so much. So here are a few Snapmaker U1 add-ons and upgrades that I've tried you might want to give a shot, or not. Putting aside the open top, there were two main complaints I had right off the bat when I pulled the U1 out of the box. There's that screen that's flat up against the case right there in the front, and well, the door that barely opens enough to get the build plate out. And I'll talk more about the screen in a bit, but first there's that 180-degree door hinge adapter that I found. Of course, I jumped into this one without reading ahead, and just know it needs exact M3 screws and the right nuts. So if the nut doesn't fit into the printed hole, don't try melting it in there like I did and then realize later you bought M4 nuts and then have to print it again. Adding this hinge system really wasn't all that difficult, and I'm really happy with the results. There's a spot on there for a screw that'll keep the door from hitting your filament on the side, and I'm kind of a minimalist with color, but you could really add some pop to your printer if you wanted to. This isn't a super strong model due kind of the way hinges work, so don't push too hard. You'll probably break something. Hopefully not the door though. To go along with your new hinges, I saw a door seal and decided to give it a try. Now, without it being fully enclosed, it's probably not all that necessary, but after I printed it and popped it into place, it just sort of felt right. And if I ever do enclose it, I'm not going to have to worry about the door leaking all that perfectly good heat. The open fan on the inside, well, that's something I noticed fairly early on, but I really didn't think much about it until I ran across this auxiliary fan dust filter, which got me thinking about what's going to happen if I accidentally push a piece of filament in there. Blenderinator! Since I pretty much only print PLA, I didn't worry about the heat so much, so PLA is what seemed best for this print. Worked okay at first, but after a few prints it started falling out. So I dropped in my black PET G and, well, it's worked great so far. And I don't have to worry about replacing that fan if I get careless with some supports. Finding that auxiliary fan dust filter laying down there on the inside, well, that pointed out something else that then got me wondering. So have you seen those little holes in the bottom? Well, I had the same concern about filament falling through those, and I did drop some stuff through there. They seem to just fall through to the desk underneath, but there are belts and things underneath there. And that's why I printed out these interior grill covers. I really like these things, and they pop in absolutely perfectly. But they're so thin that even in PET G, I keep having them kind of warp up a little bit in the middle. If it's going to keep filament from falling through, it's a win. Speaking of those grill covers warping a little bit, one way you could fix that would be to use today's sponsor, PCBWay. In case you didn't know, other than PCB boards, they do CNC, injection molding, and 3D printing. They can print in just about any material from resin to metal. So when a part like those grills needs to be perfect, PCBWay can print it in nylon, ABS, aluminum, stainless steel, and more. They even print in dental resin, but this isn't that type of grill. There's always something special going on, from deals and coupons to special events like the current PCB design contest. Find out more on their website at PCBWay.com. Most of us know that the U1 prints great with PLA or PET G if the spool stays attached, because, you know, for some reason there's those manufacturers that make that spool hole way too big. And that's why I searched around and found this filament spool adapter. It's simple and easy to use, just push it on. And it may be a bit loose on some larger spools, but that's usually not too much of an issue. And that's way better than the alternative, you know, falling off, unwinding, failed print. I haven't had any issues opening the door on the U1s, but I did run across this Snap-on custom handle, and I think it looks pretty sharp. There are two versions with two sizes of the Snapmaker logo. It's easy to install, it just snaps right on over your original handle. I did find one minor flaw though. If you pull it from the left side, it will pop off. Oops. Now, about those tools we get with the U1. The original cardboard box is okay, but I wanted something better. There are a lot of options out there, but I decided to go with this Toolkit remix of a remix. I love the idea of being able to keep them right in the front of the case where I can get them when I need them. This particular remix made it easier for right-handed people to pull the tools out, and it even added a few options for your grease tube and, other stuff. I also like that they closed up the bottom to get rid of supports when you print. Now what I don't really like is the way the grease tube and the clippers kind of stand up in there. The grease feels like it's going to block the build plate sometimes, and the clippers, well, they hit the door every time I close it. Do you have a suggestion for this or other upgrades? Well, let us all know in the comments, and please go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and share the video. Now for something to go along with the real number one reason most of us got the U1, waste filament. I've been printing a lot, and somehow I've emptied that purge bucket more than a few times. I have looked for a bigger bucket, but since I occasionally print with PETG, this awesome looking purge sorter really stood out. It's for when you print with both PLA and PETG, separate chutes that go to separate bins. Genius. I will tell you this though, it's not a quick print, and on top of that, there's not really any great instructions or great prints on the post, but fortunately, it's not too difficult to figure out. Just be careful snapping those dividers on top. It's a little fiddly. The boxes could be a little bit bigger, but probably not going to be an issue for most of us. All in all, I think it looks great and works great, especially if you're trying to store all that PLA waste for the day you figure out how to recycle it or use it in a craft. Someday. Maybe.
Oh, when?
Of course, after I printed that purge sorter, I then ran across the simple extra large waste bin, just like the one that comes with the U1, but bigger, and of course that means less emptying. A funny note here, while I was printing it, I ran out of white PETG, but I think I might actually like it better this way. Also, if you do what I did and print the sorter first, I just swapped the boxes out, the one that came with the sorter, with this extra large one. Then, when I use PETG for prints or supports, all I have to do is put the separated boxes back in. Easy. Here's one that I had my doubts about, but I tried it anyway. It's called the Power Supply Fan Duct, and it's supposed to help cut the noise from the exhaust fan on the side, that comes out of your power supply. Well, it attaches on the right side between spools 3 and 4. Unfortunately, it attaches using hot glue, which I guess is better than super glue. I put it on there and honestly didn't really notice any changes in the noise level from the machine. But then when I put number 3 spool back on, I had to pull the fan duct back off. I may try again. Maybe when I have all the spools and my hot glue gun all ready to go so that everything gets in the right position. If you really get into cutting noise and stuff, you might want to give it a try. Okay, I mentioned at the beginning that I had 2 main complaints when I first set up the U1. I already fixed the door, so I decided to dig into fixing up that screen. I'm 6'4", and the tables and my printers all sit on, well, they're usually well below me, which means it would be nice to be able to tilt the screen up to see it better. I did look at a few options, but this swiveling touchscreen mount caught my eye and I couldn't resist. I just started printing out all the pieces. I finally got around to installing it, and that's when I realized something. This is so much more complicated than I remembered. It's not too bad to get started. It's just 6 M3 screws and some double-sided tape. But then you're also going to need to purchase some very specific cables. An extension cable for the touchscreen. It has specs like FFC/FPC 32-pin, 0.5 millimeter pitch and all that. And you're also going to need a ZIF extension adapter. Okay, so I don't really know what any of those are, but the designer was nice enough to provide links to Amazon and eBay. Cool, right? No, they're links to German sites.
What? Sorry, I don't speak.
And I couldn't find anything similar that I really felt confident enough to go ahead and buy. And yeah, there are a few other builds online that do similar things, but well, they also need extension cables. So I haven't installed this one. I'm kind of going to keep it in the video here for you. Maybe some of you might have a better idea than I do about buying the right cables, or maybe even a different upgrade. Anybody? If you do, please help us all out by leaving a link in the comments. Whether it's a 3D printer or a shoe, the best fixes for anything are the ones that not only solve a problem you have, but even a problem you didn't know you had. You know, like those bottom grill covers. I love it when I stop noticing an upgrade or a fix because it just works. What about you? Do you have upgrades that you might want to share with us all? Well, drop them in the comments. Let's keep 3D printing and upgrading as we learn, create, and amaze.